Sleuths and detectives, this is internet personality Vangelus, and you may have noticed by now that the individually released Titan Masters seem to coincidentally also be the smaller Headmaster Jr. characters. Nightbeat is among them, coming in hot on the heels of his Bumblebee Redeco Generations release, as, well, a lessened experience, to say the least. This is a cool little robot who, quite frankly, doesn't seem to have a ton in common with the G1 Nightbeat Headmaster. He and Crash Bash both apparently began as original characters, and Nightbeat's sculpt shows it a whole lot more. Unfortunately, the coolest parts of the sculpt are on the torso, and the torso uses a blinding yellow plastic that eats the detail almost as voraciously as light gray plastic. The blue is pleasant though, and thankfully Nightbeat has a little yellow facial paint app to bring out his mouthplate. My intermittent praises come to a grinding halt when I look at the head mode. The helmet design is fine and dandy, but the face sculpt is not Nightbeat whatsoever. In fact, it appears to belong to some perpetually worried character I've not yet met, which is a shame because without fictional explanation, this just looks like one of the most misfired facial expressions put to plastic in a good long time. And man, the yellow facial paint and orange optic paint, that stuff is done real well for a sculpt that I do not care for. Nightbeat's ride is a thing that one could very generously call a jet. It has wings with little missiles, it has a cockpit and a nose cone, it has tank treads everywhere. But hey, a pair of foot pegs allow Nightbeat to ride on its back. I actually like how this mounting looks, as it very solidly shows a small robot man hanging desperately onto the back of a speeding aircraft, and he won't fall off when you shake him around. His body also covers the obvious barely hidden drill. Anyway, one obvious transformation later, and we've got a classic drill tank. Nightbeat integrates as a sort of bulldozer cockpit box, and I find his head easier to plug into its socket if it's turned 180 degrees around. Either way, it's just awkward to squeeze his backpack in there. The end result is a solid little mole machine with welcome splashes of silver on the gimlet and either side of the treads. Nothing rolls or spins, but the sculpt is pretty darn decent for what it's trying to do. The weapon mode is a drill tank attached to a handle. When used as intended, it's boring and completely uninspired. However, when attached to a base mode as a turret, it's hilarious. It's a friggin' melee turret. Also, thanks to the joint on the handle, you can use it as a drill puncher hand replacement on any Combiner Wars combiner. Or Rook. Nightbeat is the bottom feeder of the first wave of individual Titan Masters, from his poor head mode to his vehicle's weak jet mode to their pathetic weapon mode. Yes, I found other uses for the drill as an accessory, but even at its best, it is still literally the drill tank mode on a stick. Did I mention how unsuitable a jet or drill tank feel to me as a partner piece for Nightbeat, by the way? Anyway, at the end of the day, I don't even really want to use him as a head on anybody. The face sculpt is hilarious, but it's not Nightbeat. Not any iteration of the Nightbeat I've ever known in fiction. Case closed. Anyway, this has been internet personality Vangelus, and would you believe that in 3.5 waves of Titan's Return, this is the only use of this vehicle? It's also showing up with Japanese Chrome Dome, but man, no other option if you want yourself a drill turret. Let's make a change. Write a letter to Congress.